The world narrows to the space between my wife and me, a 3-foot gulf that suddenly feels like a canyon. 200 pairs of eyes are on us, but I only see hers. Blue, like the day we met. Blue, like the hydrangeas she insisted on for the bouquets lining the aisle. Blue and completely, utterly unreadable. The officiant, a man we've known for a decade, smiles benevolently. "Sarah, if you would repeat after me." She takes a breath, her hand trembling slightly in mine. I give it a reassuring squeeze, a reflex. 20 years of reflexes are hard to break. Her lips, painted the same shade of soft rose she wore on our wedding day, part. "I, Sarah, take you, Marcus." The name hangs in the air, a foreign object, sharp and jagged. It doesn't belong here, in this carefully curated moment of manufactured perfection. It's a rock thrown through a stained glass window. The sound it makes is the shattering of my entire world. Marcus, her personal trainer, the one she'd laughed about, calling him a gorgeous, brainless Adonis. The one she spent 3 evenings a week with at the gym, coming home flushed and vibrant and telling me it was the endorphins, the scent of her perfume, a custom jasmine blend I'd bought her for our 10th anniversary, wafts between us. It's the same scent she wore on our first date, a scent that for 2 decades has meant home, love, us. Now, it's the smell of a lie. My stomach lurches, a violent, sour churn. My chest caves inward, a sudden, brutal implosion, as if someone just punched straight through my ribs and seized my heart in a cold fist. He loved her, and she loved him. I can almost hear the words from a cheap romance novel, a story about some other, luckier couple. This isn't that. This is a horror story, and I'm the last character to realize it. Time freezes. I see every detail with a crystalline, horrifying clarity. The single bead of sweat trickling down the officiant's temple. The way Sarah's eyes widen just for a fraction of a second, in pure, unadulterated panic before she tries to plaster a smile over it. The soft murmur that begins to ripple through the first few rows of guests, a wave of confusion, of second-hand embarrassment. Our friends, our family. My sister Lisa in the front row, her face a mask of stone-cold fury. She knows. Somehow she already knows. And then time snaps back into motion, rushing forward with the force of a freight train. The reception hall is booked until midnight. A 5-course meal is waiting. The photographer, a woman whose services cost more than my first car, is circling, her lens pointed at us like a sniper's rifle. Our flight to Hawaii, a second honeymoon 2 decades in the making, leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Non-refundable. Sarah tries to recover. It's a valiant effort, I'll give her that. She squeezes my hand, a desperate, frantic pressure. "David," she whispers, her voice a strained, cracking thing. I mean, David! I take you, David!" But the lie is out. The name has been spoken. It can't be unheard, can't be unsaid. Marcus. She wasn't looking at me when she said it. I realize that now. She was looking through me. Her mind, her heart, her soul, they were somewhere else. With him. 20 years. The house we built from the ground up. The business I poured my life into. With her as my biggest cheerleader. The late nights, the early mornings. The shared laughter, the quiet tears. The comfortable silences. Was any of it real? Or was I just a placeholder? A convenience? The stable, boring husband who paid the bills while she sought excitement in the arms of a man whose name she would speak at our goddamn vow renewal. My hand goes slack in hers. The warmth of her skin is suddenly repulsive. I feel the connection between us sever, not with a quiet fizzle, but with a loud, violent snap. I take a step back. Another. The few feet of distance I create feel like an ocean. The murmur from the guests grows louder. Sarah's face crumples, the carefully constructed mask of the perfect wife dissolving into raw panic. David, what are you doing? The officiant clears his throat. Perhaps we should take a short pause. No, I say. My own voice sounds foreign, a low, steady thing that doesn't betray the earthquake happening inside me. I look directly at Sarah, at the woman I thought I knew, the woman who just annihilated my past, present, and future in a single, careless breath. I drop her hands completely. They fall to her sides, limp and useless. And then I say the two words that will shatter everything that remains, the two words that are the only truth left in this cathedral of lies. I don't. The silence that follows is absolute. It's heavier than grief, more profound than shock. It's a vacuum, sucking all the air, all the sound, all the life out of the room. 200 guests, one shell-shocked officiant, and one crumbling bride are frozen in a tableau of catastrophe. Then my body moves, propelled by a cold, clear fury I have never known before. While every eye is on me, I don't run, I don't scream, I don't cause a scene in the way they might expect. I do something far more devastating. I reach into the inner pocket of my tuxedo, the one Sarah's hand had rested on just moments before, and I pull out my phone. The screen glows to life, a stark, modern light in the soft, romantic candlelight of the altar. A few guests gasp. Who pulls out a phone mid-ceremony? A man whose life has just been detonated, that's who. My thumb moves with practiced ease, scrolling through my contacts. I see the name. Arthur Vance, ESQ. My lawyer. A man I've used for business contracts and real estate closings. A man I now need for demolition. I press the call button and lift the phone to my ear. It rings once, twice. The sound feels obscenely loud in the dead quiet. David? Arthur's voice is surprised. Is everything all right? Shouldn't you be, well, married again by now? Change of plans, Arthur, I say, my voice level, my eyes still locked on Sarah. Her face has gone from panicked to ashen. I need an emergency meeting. Tonight. I don't care what you have to cancel. Tonight? David, it's a Saturday. What's so urgent it can't wait until Monday? Betrayal, Arthur, infidelity, and public humiliation. How's that for urgent? Sarah lunges forward, grabbing my arm. Her grip is surprisingly strong, her manicured nails digging into the fabric of my sleeve. David, please, she hisses, her voice a frantic whisper that carries in the stillness. Stop this. It was just nerves. A slip of the tongue. It didn't mean anything. I pull my arm away from her, as if her touch is toxic. Nerves don't make you say another man's name during our vows, Sarah, I say, my voice just loud enough for the front rows to hear. The ripple of shock intensifies. Nerves don't make you look into my eyes and pledge yourself to your personal trainer. Her name was a mistake. Her touch is a violation. Her excuses are gasoline on a raging fire. From the corner of my eye, I see the wedding coordinator, a flustered woman named Brenda, hurrying towards the altar. She's holding her own phone, her face pale. She stops beside Sarah, trying to be discreet, but whispering loudly enough for me to hear. Sarah, Marcus just texted me. Sarah's head whips around. What? Brenda looks like she wants the floor to swallow her whole. She holds up the phone, showing a message on the screen. He's asking if the thing went okay. The thing, not the vows, not the ceremony. The thing. The little performance she was supposed to put on before running off to her real life. The final act of our 20-year sham. It's the final nail in a coffin I didn't even know was being built. The air leaves my lungs in a rush, but it's replaced by something hard and unyielding. Resolve. Arthur, are you still there? I speak into the phone, turning my back on Sarah completely. I'm here, David. I heard. My office. 1 hour. Thank you. I hang up without another word. I turn to face the silent, staring crowd. My friends, my family, the people who came here to celebrate a love they thought was real, a love I thought was real. I owe them an explanation, but not the one they want. I owe them an exit. I walk to the microphone where the officiant was standing just a lifetime ago. I tap it once. The feedback screeches, making everyone flinch. Good. Let them feel a fraction of the jolt that just went through my system. I apologize to everyone for this interruption, I say, my voice booming through the speakers. There has been a change in the evening's program. The marriage I thought we were celebrating today does not exist. However, the food and drinks have all been paid for. I look around the room, making eye contact with a few stunned friends. Please stay, eat, drink, enjoy the dinner on me. Consider it a parting gift. But the celebration is over. I set the microphone back on its stand. The pianist, who had been frozen over her keys, seems to snap out of her trance and stops mid-song. The abrupt silence is even more jarring than the feedback. Then, I stride toward the exit. I don't look back. I don't look at Sarah, whose quiet, desperate sobs have finally begun. I don't look at her parents, who are staring at me with a mixture of horror and fury. I don't look at my own parents, who just look lost. My sister, Lisa, meets me at the end of the aisle. She falls into step beside me, her hand finding the small of my back. She doesn't say a word. She doesn't need to. Her presence is a silent promise. You're not alone in this. As we push through the grand oak doors of the venue and out into the crisp evening air, the muffled sound of 200 confused conversations fades behind us. I'm no longer David, the happy husband. I am David, the man who said I don't. And I'm about to find out just how deep the rabbit hole of my wife's deception goes. The war has just begun. The drive to Lisa's apartment is a blur. I don't remember the turns we took or the traffic lights we stopped at. I just remember the feeling of the steering wheel in my hands, a solid, real thing in a world that had dissolved into smoke. Lisa sits in the passenger seat, a silent, steady presence. She's always been the pragmatic one, the rock. While I was the romantic, the one who believed in grand gestures and lifelong promises, Lisa was the one who read the fine print. Her apartment is a minimalist sanctuary of white walls, clean lines, and cool, abstract art. It's the polar opposite of the warm, cluttered home I shared with Sarah, a home that now feels like a hostile, alien territory. Lisa pours me a glass of whiskey, the expensive kind I only drink on special occasions. I guess this qualifies. The liquid burns a welcome trail down my throat, a fire to combat the ice in my veins. What do you need, David? She asks, her voice soft but firm. Not, are you okay, or I'm so sorry. She knows those words are useless. She cuts straight to the chase. I need a computer, I say, and I need to know everything. She nods, already pulling her sleek laptop from its stand. We'll start with the finances. That's always where they get sloppy. We sit on her stark white couch, the laptop a portal into the secret life my wife has been living. I log into our joint bank accounts, my hands shaking so badly I mistype the password twice. The main checking account looks normal. Mortgage payments, utility bills, credit card statements, the mundane rhythm of a shared life. But Lisa is relentless. Look for patterns, she murmurs, leaning over my shoulder. Regular transfers, anything that doesn't have a clear label, small amounts at first. They always start small. She's right. I scroll back. 3 months ago, a transfer for $500. Label, gym equip. A week later, another for $750. Label, Wellness. Then the amounts get bigger. The labels get vaguer. Consulting fee. Investment. Household. These are all going to the same account number, I say, my voice hoarse. An account I don't recognize. Lisa's fingers fly across the keyboard, pulling up another browser tab. Let's find out who owns it. It takes her less than 5 minutes. She's a financial analyst. This is her playground. She cross-references the routing number, pulls up public records, and then her face hardens. She turns the screen toward me. The account is a joint savings account, opened 6 months ago. The account holders, Sarah Miller and Marcus Thorne. 6 months. She's been planning this for at least 6 months, building a nest egg, siphoning money from our shared life to fund a new one. The total is staggering, over $50,000. Gone. Moved from our future to their future. The cold leather of Lisa's couch contrasts sharply with the burning rage spreading through my veins. It's a physical sensation, a heat that starts in my gut and radiates outwards, making my skin prickle. It's not just the infidelity, it's the premeditation, the cold, calculated theft, the sheer, breathtaking arrogance of it. Just as the reality of the financial betrayal settles in, the buzzer for the apartment rings, a harsh, demanding shriek that cuts through the quiet hum of the refrigerator. Lisa looks at me, her eyes asking a question. Don't answer it, I say. But we both know who it is. She's tracked me here, my one sanctuary. The buzzing is incessant now, accompanied by a frantic pounding on the door. David, I know you're in there. Open this door. We need to talk. Her voice is followed by a deeper one, a male voice. Come on, man. Just talk to her. Don't be a child. Marcus. She brought him with her. The audacity is so profound, it's almost impressive. She brought her lover to my sister's doorstep to plead her case. Lisa stands up, her jaw set. I'll handle this. No, I say, standing with her. This is my mess. I need to see this through. I walk to the door, my heart a cold, heavy stone in my chest. I look through the peephole. There they are. Sarah. Her face tear-streaked and blotchy, her expensive vow renewal dress already looking wrinkled and defeated. And next to her, Marcus. He's tall, tanned, with perfectly coiffed hair and a look of bored impatience on his handsome face. He's wearing track pants and a tight-fitting athletic shirt, a gym bag slung casually over his shoulder as if he just popped over after a workout. As if he owns the place. As if he owns her. I take a deep breath and pull the door open. They both blink, surprised by my sudden appearance. You're being dramatic, David, Sarah starts immediately, her voice taking on a whiny, aggrieved tone. It was a mistake. People make mistakes. We can work through this. Work through what, Sarah? I ask, my voice dangerously quiet. Your second life? The one you've been funding with our money? Her eyes flicker with guilt, but she doubles down. That money was an investment. Marcus has a business idea. Marcus smirks, stepping forward slightly. A chain of high-end wellness retreats. It's going to be huge. Sarah was smart to get in on the ground floor. They're a team, a united front. They're not here to apologize. They're here to manage the situation, to minimize the damage and get their plan back on track. An investment, I repeat, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. Is that what you call it? Because I call it embezzlement. And what about this, Sarah? Is this part of the investment portfolio too? I step back into the apartment, grab the laptop, and turn the screen towards her. Lisa has been busy. While I was at the door, she'd been digging deeper. My email is open on the screen. An email from a travel agency sent to Sarah's personal account, which is linked to our family cloud storage. A confirmation. for 2 one-way first-class tickets to San Jose, Costa Rica, departing next month. The names on the tickets: Sarah Miller and Marcus Thorne. "It's not what you think," she stammers, her eyes wide with genuine fear now. The whiny confidence is gone, replaced by the terror of being caught. "Then explain it to me," I say, my voice dropping even lower. "Explain the tickets, Sarah. Explain the $50,000. Explain why you stood across from me today, wearing the dress I paid for, in the venue I booked, and said another man's name. Explain it all. I've got all night." She opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. She looks at Marcus for help, but he just shrugs, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. This is not going according to his plan. He was supposed to be the silent, supportive partner while she sweet-talked her pathetic husband back into line. But her pathetic husband is gone. In his place is a man who has just seen the full scope of the betrayal. And the night is just getting started. The silence in the hallway stretches, thin and taut. Sarah looks from the laptop screen to my face, her mind whirring, searching for a plausible lie, a new narrative to spin. But the evidence is too stark, too damning. The joint account with Marcus, the one-way tickets to Costa Rica. Her carefully constructed world is crumbling around her in real time. And for the first time in our 20-year marriage, she has no words. We were going to tell you," she finally whispers, the lie so feeble it's insulting. "It was a surprise. The wellness retreat, the flagship location, is in Costa Rica. We were going to scout it out." "A surprise?" I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. "You were going to surprise me by draining our savings and leaving the country with your personal trainer? Wow, Sarah, you really shouldn't have." My sarcasm is a blade, and I see it cut her. Good. Marcus, clearly realizing his role as the silent, supportive boyfriend isn't working, decides to switch tactics to condescending alpha male. "Look, man," he says, stepping forward and puffing out his chest. The muscles in his tight shirt ripple. It's a pathetic display of intimidation. "You're obviously emotional right now. I get it. But you need to calm down and think rationally. Sarah was unhappy. These things happen. We have something real. You were just a habit." "A habit," I repeat slowly, the words tasting like ash. I look at Sarah, who refuses to meet my gaze. "Is that what we were, Sarah? 20 years of marriage, just a habit? Was our life so unbearable that you had to orchestrate this grand deception?" "You were never home, David!" she bursts out, seizing on the new excuse he's handed her. It's a classic deflection, a desperate attempt to shift the blame. "You were always at the office, obsessed with your company. You left me alone." "I was building a future for us," I roar, the quiet control finally snapping. "The software company I've been killing myself to build for the last decade? The company that funded our home, our cars, your endless shopping sprees, and your $50,000 investment fund? That company? I was building that for us." "It was never for us," she spits back, her voice venomous. "It was for you, for your ego. I was just a prop. The supportive wife you could show off at company parties." The accusation hangs in the air, so ludicrous, so completely detached from our reality that it momentarily stuns me into silence. Every late night, every missed dinner, every weekend I spent coding until my eyes burned, it was all with her face in my mind. The goal was always the same: to get to a place where we could finally relax, travel, and enjoy the fruits of that labor. The second honeymoon in Hawaii was supposed to be the start of that. Instead, it was meant to be her grand finale before she disappeared with my money. And then another memory clicks into place. A colder, more sickening realization than all the others combined. It hits me with the force of a physical blow, and I actually take a step back, steadying myself against the doorframe. Last month. She'd sat me down in our living room, her hands folded primly in her lap, a nervous but excited energy about her. She told me she was pregnant, at 42. After years of trying and failing, after we'd finally made our peace with the fact that it would just be the two of us, it was a miracle. A shocking, unbelievable, life-altering miracle. I was ecstatic. All my lingering doubts about her recent distance, her obsessive gym-going, her secrecy with her phone, they all vanished in that one moment. A baby. Our baby. It was a new beginning, a tether that would bind us together forever. I'd stopped questioning anything. I'd walked on eggshells, catering to her every whim, thrilled by the prospect of becoming a father. I look at her now, at her flat stomach partially visible beneath the bunched-up fabric of her dress. I look at Marcus, whose self-satisfied smirk has returned. I look at the one-way tickets to Costa Rica. And I see the truth. The pregnancy was a lie, a masterpiece of manipulation. It was her insurance policy. She must have sensed I was growing suspicious, that the threads of our marriage were fraying. Maybe I'd asked one too many questions about her late nights or the credit card bills, so she deployed the ultimate weapon, a lie so beautiful and so profound that it would stop me in my tracks. It would buy her time. It would keep me docile and happy while she finalized her exit strategy. She wasn't creating a new life with me. She was using the idea of one to end ours. My rage evaporates, replaced by something far colder, a glacial calm. The emotional storm has passed, and in its wake is a landscape of pure, crystalline clarity. I see the game now. I see all the moves she made, all the pieces she manipulated. And I see my countermove. "You're right, Sarah," I say, my voice devoid of all emotion. "You should go, you and Marcus. Go scout your locations. We have nothing more to talk about tonight." She blinks, thrown by my sudden acquiescence. This wasn't in her script. She expected more yelling, more pleading, more drama. She didn't expect surrender. "Really?" she asks, a hopeful note in her voice. "Yes," I say, "go." She looks at Marcus, a triumphant little smile playing on her lips. They've won. The dumb, emotional husband has been pacified. They turn to leave, their shoulders brushing in a gesture of casual intimacy that makes my stomach clench. But I'm not surrendering, I'm regrouping, I'm rearming. Because tomorrow morning I won't be calling my lawyer to ask him what to do. I'll be calling him to tell him what we're doing. Because tomorrow morning I'll walk into Arthur Vance's office not just as a betrayed husband, but as a multimillionaire. The final paperwork for my software company's acquisition went through yesterday. A 9-figure deal. The money is scheduled to hit my account on Monday. Sarah thinks she's stealing $50,000 from a moderately successful business owner. She has no idea she's trying to rob a king. She has no idea that the man she just dismissed as a habit is about to become one of the wealthiest tech entrepreneurs in the state. She thinks she's playing checkers, but I'm about to flip the whole board. And this isn't just a game of chess, it's war. As I close the door on their retreating backs, I turn to Lisa. She's looking at me with a newfound respect, a flicker of something like awe in her eyes. "What now?" she asks. I pull out my phone again. This time I don't go to my contacts. I open the voice recorder app. I press the red button. A small, silent timer begins to tick upwards. I'm recording everything now. Every call, every conversation. I'm not just a victim anymore. I'm a plaintiff. I'm building my case while she scrambles to build her fake life. And I will burn her world to the ground with the truth. "Now," I say, my voice the calm at the center of a hurricane. "We let her dig her own grave. and I hand her the shovel. The first call I make is to the bank. It's Saturday night, and I know I'll just get a generic call center, but it doesn't matter. I need the call on record. I put the phone on speaker, Lisa's laptop open in front of me, the voice recorder app on my own phone silently capturing every word. First Providence Bank, this is Maria. How can I help you? The voice is tinny, distant. Hello, Maria. My name is David Miller. I need to report unauthorized activity on my accounts and place an immediate freeze on all of them. Lisa's fingers are already a blur on the keyboard, pulling up the account numbers. I read them off to Maria one by one. The joint checking, the joint savings, the real one, not the secret one Sarah has with Marcus, our investment portfolio, our credit cards, everything. Okay, Mr. Miller, I can see the accounts. For security purposes, can I have the full name of the other account holder? Sarah Miller, I say, the name feeling like poison on my tongue. My wife. There's a pause. And you're requesting to freeze her out of all joint assets? That is correct. Effective immediately. She does not have my authorization for any transaction, withdrawal, or transfer of any kind. I understand, sir. I've placed a temporary hold on all activity. You'll need to come into a branch on Monday with 2 forms of ID to make it permanent. Is there anything else? Yes, Maria, there is. I take a breath. I need you to notate the account. My wife may attempt to access these funds. She may claim it's an emergency. She may claim I'm unwell. She may lie. I need it on record that any attempt she makes is to be considered fraudulent. I've made the note, Mr. Miller. Maria sounds taken aback. This is clearly above her pay grade for a Saturday night script. We'll see you on Monday. I hang up. The first domino has fallen, a small one, but the chain reaction has begun. Next, the locks. I find a 24-hour locksmith online. A man named Gus says he can be at the house in an hour. The house that was our home. The house I inherited from my grandparents. The one piece of my past that I brought into our marriage. The deed is solely in my name. A fact that had always been a mere technicality, something Arthur had insisted on when we were drafting our prenup 20 years ago. A prenup Sarah had called unromantic and unnecessary. Funny how things change. While you're dealing with Gus, I'll handle the rest, Lisa says, her eyes gleaming with a strategic fire. She's in her element now. This is a hostile takeover, and she's my second in command. Credit cards, airline tickets, the photographer, the reception hall. I'll start making the calls. See what can be canceled, what can be refunded. An hour later, I'm standing on the manicured lawn of my own home. It's dark, the windows are unlit. Sarah must still be out with Marcus, probably celebrating their victory, confident that they've weathered the storm. Gus, the locksmith, a burly man with a kind, weathered face, works efficiently, replacing the locks on the front door, the back door, the garage. Nasty business, this, he says, not looking up from his work. Late-night lockouts, never a happy story. You have no idea, I mutter. As he hands me the new set of keys, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Sarah. Where are you? I came home and you're not here. I'm worried, David. I think we should go to couples therapy. I found a great place. I think it could really help us. The audacity, the sheer, unmitigated gall. She's not at home. She's lying. She's setting up her next move, trying to frame herself as the concerned, proactive wife trying to save her marriage. I can picture her sitting across from Marcus, composing the text, him nodding in approval. I type back a simple reply. I'm fine. Taking some space. Let her wonder. Let her sweat. I spend the night on Lisa's couch, but I don't sleep. I'm running on pure adrenaline and rage. Sunday is a blur of phone calls and planning. I speak with Arthur, my lawyer, 3 more times, feeding him the information Lisa and I are uncovering. The secret savings account. The Costa Rica tickets. He's giddy with the sheer volume of evidence. "This is a slam dunk, David," he says. "She's not just an adulteress, she's a con artist. We'll crucify her. By Sunday evening, the trap is fully set. The accounts are frozen. The locks are changed. Lisa has managed to cancel the Hawaii flights and get a partial refund, citing a sudden medical emergency." The story is plausible enough. The real show begins on Monday morning. I'm in my car, parked down the street from our house, when I see her pull up. She's driving her convertible, a birthday gift from me last year. She gets out, looking refreshed, a yoga mat tucked under her arm. She must have spent the night at Marcus's. She walks to the front door, humming, and puts her key in the lock. It doesn't turn. She tries again, jiggles it. A look of confusion crosses her face. She pulls out her phone. A minute later, mine rings. I let it go to voicemail. I watch her try the key again. Her movements more frantic now. She starts to pound on the door. David, are you in there? What the hell is this? Open the door!" I can hear her voice faintly from my car. I wait. Let her frustration build. Finally, I get out of my car and walk slowly up the driveway. She spins around when she hears my footsteps. Her face is a mask of fury. "What did you do? You can't lock me out of my own home." "Check the deed, Sarah," I say, my voice calm. I stop about 10 feet away from her. "My name, my inheritance, my house." Her face falls. She'd forgotten that detail. Or, more likely, she'd never thought it would matter. "The judge will give me half of everything," she screeches. "That's the law. Half of the house, half of the company, half of it all." "I don't think so," I say. "Not when they see these." I hold up my phone, swiping through a series of photos. Photos a private investigator Lisa hired on Saturday night had already managed to dig up from social media. Marcus's accounts were private, but his friends weren't. There they are. Sarah and Marcus in Cabo last month, on a trip she told me was a solo yoga retreat to find herself. In the photos, they are not finding themselves. They are finding each other, all over each other, kissing on a beach, laughing on a yacht. Her jaw drops. You can't use those." "I can, and I will, along with the bank statements, the plane tickets, and a sworn testimony from the wedding coordinator." Just then, my phone rings. It's a number I don't recognize, but the caller ID says First Providence Bank. I answer it, putting it on speaker. "Mr. Miller, this is Greg from the main branch. I'm the bank manager. I'm calling to follow up on your fraud alert from Saturday." "Yes, Greg, I'm here. What's going on?" "Well, your wife, Sarah, is here at the branch. She's been here for the last hour. She's trying to take out a second mortgage on your property." I look at Sarah. Her face has gone from white to a mottled gray. She looks like she's going to be sick. "Is that so?" I say into the phone. "Yes, sir. And frankly, the paperwork she provided, it looks forged. The signature doesn't match the one we have on file for you. We were about to call the police, but I saw the note on your account and thought I should call you first. A second mortgage. She was trying to strip the equity out of my family home before the divorce proceedings even began, using a forged signature. That's not just a bad act in a divorce. That's a felony." "Thank you, Greg," I say, my voice like ice. "Do not call the police. Yet. Just tell my wife that her request has been denied, and that her presence is no longer welcome at the bank. Or at this house." I hang up the phone and look at Sarah. She's shaking, her whole body trembling with a mixture of rage and terror. The game is over, and she knows it. She has been outmaneuvered, outplayed, and utterly exposed. "Our divorce hearing is scheduled for next Friday, Sarah," I say, delivering the final blow. I check my calendar app. What a coincidence. That's the same day you told me you had your first ultrasound scheduled, the day we were supposed to see our baby's heartbeat. I watch the last bit of fight drain out of her. She slumps against the door she can no longer open, a broken, pathetic figure. She didn't just lose a husband. She lost her golden goose, her home, her reputation, and her freedom all in the space of 48 hours. And the real reckoning hasn't even begun. The week leading up to the divorce hearing is the longest of my life. I exist in a strange limbo, living out of a suitcase at Lisa's apartment while my real life is on hold. My house sits empty, a silent testament to a future that will never be. My office, the place that was once my refuge, now feels like a war room. Arthur and I, along with the team of forensic accountants Lisa recommended, spend hours poring over 2 decades of financial records, unearthing a pattern of deception that is breathtaking in its scope. It wasn't just the $50,000 nest egg for Costa Rica. It was a steady bleed. Thousands of dollars funneled into a private credit card under her maiden name. Loans to friends that were never repaid. Friends I now realize were part of her secret world. Lavish spa weekends she claimed were business expenses for her non-existent interior design consultancy. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. Each one a small, calculated betrayal. The most damning discovery is the timeline for the forged mortgage application. She'd started the process over a month ago, right after she told me she was pregnant. The fake baby wasn't just her insurance policy to keep me docile, it was her smokescreen. She knew a loving, expectant father would be too distracted to notice a little thing, like a home equity line of credit application showing up in the mail. She was planning to have the money in her account and be gone long before I ever got suspicious. The vow renewal was supposed to be her final, triumphant performance, the loving wife reaffirming her devotion before vanishing with the spoils. Her slip of the tongue had saved me. Marcus's name was the stray thread that, when pulled, unraveled her entire tapestry of lies. Sarah, meanwhile, is scrambling. She hires a notoriously aggressive divorce attorney, a shark named Cynthia Alapage. The first volley of legal letters arrives, filled with accusations and demands. She accuses me of emotional abuse, of financial coercion, of abandoning her in her time of need. She claims the money she took was her rightful share, a stipend for the emotional labor of being my wife. She even claims the house is half hers, despite the deed, citing marital contribution. It's a masterclass in victimhood, a desperate attempt to muddy the waters and paint herself as a wronged woman. But we have the truth, and the truth is a weapon of mass destruction. On the day of the hearing, I walk into the courthouse feeling strangely calm. I'm wearing a tailored navy suit, a stark contrast to the tuxedo I was wearing the last time I prepared to face Sarah in a formal setting. Lisa is with me, her presence a quiet source of strength. Arthur is by my side, carrying a briefcase that feels like it's packed with explosives. We enter the courtroom, a sterile, wood-paneled room that smells of old paper and stale coffee. Sarah is already there, sitting at the plaintiff's table. She's dressed in a severe black dress, her hair pulled back, her face pale and drawn. She looks like a grieving widow. It's a carefully chosen costume. And next to her, in the gallery, sits Marcus. He's wearing a suit that's a size too tight, looking deeply uncomfortable and out of place. He's here as her emotional support, her partner in crime. His presence is a final, fatal miscalculation. Cynthia Alapage, Sarah's lawyer, begins. She paints a picture of a lonely, neglected wife, married to a cold, work-obsessed man. She speaks of Sarah's deep desire to build something of her own, the wellness retreat, and how I, in my controlling rage, sought to crush her dreams. Your Honor, she says, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. My client was clearly under enormous emotional distress. Her slip of the tongue at the vow renewal was a cry for help, not a confession of infidelity. Mr. Miller's reaction, freezing her out of their shared life, locking her out of her home, was disproportionate and cruel. Arthur stands. He's a small, unassuming man, but when he speaks, his voice fills the room. Your Honor, emotional distress doesn't explain the embezzled funds from the joint accounts, which my client has documented meticulously. He places a thick binder on the judge's bench. That money was for our future, Sarah blurts out, unable to stay silent. Arthur turns to her. Whose future, Sarah? Yours and Marcus's Costa Rica adventure? He places the printouts of the one-way tickets on the bench next to the binder. You're twisting everything, she cries, tears welling in her eyes. It's a good performance, but the judge, a stern-faced woman in her 60s, looks unimpressed. And I suppose Mr. Miller is also twisting this? Arthur continues, his voice like silk. He pulls another document from his briefcase. This is a statement from the manager of First Providence Bank, detailing your attempt to take out a second mortgage on your husband's property using a forged signature. Cynthia Ayla Page leaps to her feet. Objection, this is unsubstantiated. Is it? Arthur asks calmly. He looks at Sarah. Then perhaps we should talk about the reason you felt so confident your husband wouldn't notice the paperwork. Perhaps we should talk about the pregnancy. A hush falls over the courtroom. Sarah freezes, her face a mask of pure terror. My client's pregnancy is a private medical matter, Cynthia says. On the contrary, Arthur replies smoothly. It is central to the pattern of deceit. My client was led to believe he was to be a father. He made financial and emotional decisions based on that belief. A belief his wife manufactured to facilitate her crimes. You can't prove that, Sarah whispers, her voice cracking. I can't take it anymore. I stand up. Arthur, if I may? Arthur nods, stepping aside. All eyes are on me. I look directly at Sarah. You're right, Sarah. It's hard to prove a lie, but sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes the liar gets careless. I reach into my own briefcase and pull out a small, sealed plastic bag. Inside is a used pregnancy test. I found this in the trash in the master bathroom the night I had the locks changed, I say, my voice steady. You must have taken it right after you got home from your couples therapy session with Marcus. Maybe you were worried your little slip-up had real consequences. I place the bag on the table, pushing it across towards her. It's negative, Sarah, and there's a date stamp on it, dated 3 weeks ago, long after you told me you were pregnant, but well before you would have been showing. The room is silent. Sarah stares at the plastic stick as if it's a venomous snake. Her entire defense, her entire persona as the wronged pregnant wife, has just been obliterated by a piece of trash. Her lawyer, Cynthia Alapaj, is whispering frantically in her ear, her face grim. She knows the case is lost. But I have one more thing. I slide the forged mortgage documents across the table, the ones the bank manager had emailed to Arthur. I slide them right next to the negative pregnancy test. Explain this, Sarah. Explain it to the judge. Explain how a grieving, emotionally distressed pregnant wife finds the time to commit felony bank fraud. Her face crumbles. A deep, guttural sob escapes her lips. It's not a sound of grief or sadness. It's the sound of utter and complete defeat. The mask is gone. The lies are gone. All that's left is a con artist who has finally been caught. The judge looks from the evidence to Sarah's collapsing form. She doesn't need to hear any more. She bangs her gavel, the sound echoing the final, brutal end of my marriage. I've heard enough. The verdict is swift and merciless. The prenup is upheld. Due to the evidence of fraud and extreme deceit, all marital assets are awarded to me. The house is mine. The company is mine. The funds in our accounts are mine. Sarah is ordered to pay back the $50,000 she stole, plus legal fees. She's awarded no alimony. And then, the final, beautiful, darkly comic blow. The judge looks at our list of shared assets. As for the family pets, given the circumstances, Mr. Miller will retain full custody of the goldfish. Miss Miller will be granted supervised visitation rights to be arranged at Mr. Miller's convenience. The corner of Arthur's mouth twitches. Lisa actually lets out a small snort of laughter, which she quickly covers with her hand. Sarah just sits there, broken, staring into the abyss she created for herself. She came here expecting to walk away with half of my life. She's leaving with nothing but her debts and supervised visitation rights to a goldfish named Bubbles. Justice, it turns out, has a sense of humor. 6 months later, the house smells of fresh paint and sawdust. The oppressive silence that had filled it in the weeks after the hearing has been replaced by the energetic sounds of renewal. I'm renovating the kitchen, tearing out the dark cherry cabinets and granite countertops that Sarah had picked out, the ones she'd boasted about in her imaginary interior design portfolio. I'm replacing them with clean white lines, warm butcher block, and stainless steel. It's my space now, reflecting my taste, my future. Lisa is here, a paintbrush in her hand, a smudge of white on her nose. We're tackling the wall where a massive, framed photo from our first wedding used to hang. It was the centerpiece of the house, a constant reminder of the promise we'd made. I'd taken it down the day after the hearing. Now, we're painting over the ghost of its shadow, replacing it with blueprints for my new tech startup, which I've pinned to the wall. The acquisition of my old company finalized a month after the divorce. The money, a truly staggering sum, sits in a series of managed accounts. But I found I wasn't interested in retiring. The fire that had driven me to build that company was still there, only now it was tempered with a wisdom I'd paid a heavy price for. My new venture is smaller, leaner, more focused. It's something I'm passionate about, not something I'm building to impress a wife who was never really there. The mail arrives, a small stack Lisa brings in from the porch. Most of it is junk, but there's one envelope addressed to Sarah Miller that has been forwarded from our old address. It's from a law firm I don't recognize. Curiosity gets the better of me. I open it. It's a bankruptcy notice. Sarah had tried to fight the judgment, of course. She'd appealed, claiming poverty and duress, but the evidence was insurmountable. The debt she owed me, combined with her own lawyer's fees and the mountain of credit card debt from her secret life, had buried her. According to the notice, she'd declared Chapter 7, a complete liquidation of her assets. Not that she had many left. I show the letter to Lisa. She reads it, a slow, satisfied smile spreading across her face. "And what about him?" she asks. "What happened to Mr. Wellness Retreat?" "Oh, that's the best part," I say, a genuine, unforced laugh bubbling up. I'd heard through the grapevine. Our town wasn't that big. Apparently, Marcus wasn't interested in a bankrupt girlfriend. As soon as the Costa Rica money dried up and he realized there was no multi-million-dollar divorce settlement coming his way, he left her. For his yoga instructor. I guess he found a new, more flexible investment. We both start laughing. A deep, cathartic sound that echoes through the half-finished kitchen. The absurdity of it all. The karmic perfection. I look at the bankruptcy notice in my hand, this final, pathetic postscript to my 20-year marriage. Sarah had tried to take everything from me. She'd tried to steal my money, my home, my past, and my future. In the end, she was the one who lost it all. She's left with nothing but the consequences of her own choices. I walk over to the large trash can filled with plaster and old drywall. I smile, a real smile, one that reaches my eyes. I toss the notice in. It disappears amongst the debris of the life I'm tearing down to build a new one. Some divorces end with tears and heartbreak. Some end in bitter, prolonged battles that leave everyone scarred. Mine ended with justice. It ended with a negative pregnancy test, forged mortgage documents, and supervised visitation rights for a goldfish. Later that evening, after Lisa leaves, I sit in my new, uncluttered living room, my laptop open. I'm not looking at code or financial projections. I'm looking at flight information. The Hawaii trip was a bust, a casualty of Sarah's war. But the world is a big place. I book a one-way ticket to Queenstown, New Zealand, solo, no plans, no itinerary, just a backpack and a desire to see something new, to stand on a mountain and breathe air that has never been touched by lies or betrayal. I am no longer David, the betrayed husband. I am no longer David, the plaintiff in a messy divorce. I am just David. And for the first time in a very long time, that feels like more than enough. The celebration wasn't over after all. It was just beginning.